Hello everyone, Grandmaster AKOBIAN here with 1000 GM, and in this video I'll be showing you my round 4 game from the recently completed US Open tournament. In this game I'm playing against Grandmaster John FEDOROWICZ. Very famous player, very experienced Grandmaster. I have played many games with John. It's always very close battles. So, and I have the block pieces here. So we're both at a perfect score right now. First won the first 3 games, and I did the recap videos for those games, so make sure you check those out. Round 1 to 3, and this is round number 4. John played e4, and again we play several games per day, so this is the 4th game of that day, the last game, so it's a game in 1 hour. So I normally play the French, and actually I played him. It's very funny, I played him last year in the same tournament. It was in New Jersey with the black pieces in a 4th round. So it seems like we always play in a 4th round of the US Open. So, and this time I wanted to surprise him a little bit. I didn't play my Czech perk. Maybe I could have done this, or I didn't play my French or my Caro-Kann. I could have done any of these openings, but there were just simply not enough time to prepare. You know, the pairings are just posted like 10-15 minutes before. So I decided to play something surprising. D5. There's an old weapon of mine. I used to play this when I was a kid. The Scandinavian defense, okay? I didn't take on d5. I've done it before. That would be the center counter, taking with the queen. It also leads to some, solid positions, but I haven't checked the theory in a while, so I played here. So in this game, John plays d4, okay? And he chose one of the more solid lines, and we did not get that much going, so the game ended in a draw. But what I have in a reference is I have my game, much sharper game against Caruana, which I'm going to show you because it's on the same topic, okay? So, in this game, d4 played by John FEDOROWICZ, and c4 was, bishop b5 was played by Caruana. We'll go back to this game, but let's do this one first. d4. I can take knight takes d5, but then knight f3, c4 is coming, so I say, I'm going to play this line, bishop g4. Trying to put pressure on the queen. And I'm trying to induce a move like f3, where opponent will make some structural weaknesses. And I'm very happy to play a position like this, where he's up a pawn, but I have some good development, Just want to play a position like this where I can get the knight out, the bishop out, and play for a compensation. But my opponent played a very interesting move, check first. Now, if I play c6, he can just simply take. And if I take here, actually, after the check, he will attack my queen. Knight bd7 takes. I take back and take the bishop with the winning advantage. Okay? So that doesn't quite work. So that's why after this I played knight bd7. And here I was thinking, okay, maybe he will play f3. And I was hoping for this move because then we get a sharp game. I go here. c4, e6, takes. And again, once again, I'm happy to play a position like this where I'm down a pawn, but I have some lead in development and some activity for my pieces. Position remains to be unclear. But John played bishop e2, very solid move, and that basically takes away a lot of my options because I have to take and try to get the pawn back. Now queen takes. Now, if I don't do anything now, c4 is just going to be very strong and defending the pawn, so I had to take back. Knight f3, e6, and he played castle. He offered me a draw here, and at this point I already spent about 10 minutes. So I have about 50 minutes left on the clock. And of course I took another 10 minutes here because I was trying to play for a win, but I realized I don't have any good resources. So after he castled, let's say I had to get my bishop out. c4 comes in, knight c3, bishop f4, c6, let's say h3, and I mean the next move is rook a1. I mean, white is just slightly better here with the better center. And yeah, I have incredibly solid position, but it will be very difficult for me to play for a win. And since this was the 4th game of that day, I thought, okay, maybe draw with black against a Grandmaster. It's not a bad result. It's not the best result, but it's not a bad result. So, but let's take a look at the Caruana game here. So my 4th game ended in a draw here. But I think the Caruana game was quite interesting. There are a couple of interesting moments I want to share with you. So this game was played in 2016 US Championship. And I don't know what happened, how he got to me, but I decided that I want to try this against him. Very risky opening choice against top players. So, but I had preparation. So I played bishop d7. This is still my prep. Bishop c4, bishop g4. Again, a lot of times in these positions, I'm trying to induce the move f3. Because then the knight can never go to f3, and that will occupy the square for the knight to go to. Now bishop f5. Now keeping the pressure here, knight c3. If I get the pawn back, then I have a very nice position, so he's trying to do this. Knight bd7. g4 now. g4 attacking the bishop. So if I go back, then I guess he's going to try to play h4. But here was my idea here. When he plays g4, I actually prepared this. I go knight b6. I counterattack the bishop. Okay? Now if it takes, I can simply take knight takes c4. And then I can return and pick up the d5 pawn, and then f5 and f3 are weak as well. So it's no good. So after g4, knight b6, he played here. He played a surprising move. I think in my analysis, I only analyzed the move bishop b3. And then the point is I can even return back here and then simply pick up the pawn, put a pawn on e6, and I have a very solid position. Okay? And the g4 has weakened the position. But my opponent played a surprising move. After spending some time, he played b3. Defending this. Bishop c8. Now my idea is to take on d5. See, I don't want to put a bishop on g6. So because then I can see some h4, h5 ideas coming out. So bishop c8 is fine. And he goes here. And here is the critical moment here. Here is if I made an inaccuracy and I end up actually getting into some serious trouble against Caruana, eventually losing the game. Here I took the pawn immediately. This was just the lack of experience, guys. I wasn't playing this opening all the time, so I wasn't familiar with the structure that much. But before taking a pawn, it's very important to try to induce the move g5. Okay? You know, it's very important to induce the move g5 before we take it. So I want to pause here and give you a couple of minutes to think here, you know, maybe even less for you. How can I continue here? What is my best move here, guys, to try to improve the position instead of taking immediately? Let's give you a couple of minutes on this. All right, so you had a few minutes to think about, and the correct move, of course, here is h5. h5, that's a very strong move here, guys, because the threat is to take bishop g4, then attacking the queen, and the structure is very weak. So he has to do something. He can play the move h3 because I take, and look at this. Bishop g4 sacrifice, hitting that queen, and if he takes back, we're picking up that rook on h1. So that doesn't work either for him. So he's forced to play the move g5, but then I go knight f takes d5. And now compared to the game, we're going to see the real game where white had the advantage. Here, I have an incredible square for my bishop. Bishop comes to f5. In the game, he played the same way, and I couldn't put a bishop anywhere. I didn't have a good square for the bishop. But here I can put it there, and after castle I play e6. And we have a very sharp position where it's a fight here, and it's a play for all three results here. It's hard to say who is better or who is going to win, but it's a fight for three results. Okay? So it's you know, I have my own trumps. I can maybe even keep my king in the middle, play c6, and then say, let's go, b5, a5, and just, you know, maybe keep my king there for a while, because I don't see how white can try to open up the position. There are no pawn breaks. You're never playing d4, d5. The knight is on d5, and you're not also playing f4, f5. So it's very hard to break. So I think we have a game for three results here. I quite like this position. You know, maybe just a5 and then a4 idea. You know, putting the pawn on c6 also makes sense to make sure d5 is securely covered. Okay. But in the game, I didn't understand this nuance. That's why you have to play the move h5. In the game, I got into some serious trouble. I took immediately, took, and he played here. e6, castle, and now he's castled. He's got his bishops developed. In the meantime, I have a trouble. I can't develop this guy. Bishop takes d5. I mean, I'm losing a piece. And if I develop this guy, I'm dropping this pawn. So immediately here now I'm just already uncomfortable. I played b6, knight h3 here, and f4, and white is much better because better development, and f5 is coming up, and I had to give up a pawn just to make sure I can castle. But I did put up a fight, but it was very difficult. It's very difficult to do anything against such an elite player and end up slowly losing this game. It was a fight about 40-some moves. But again, a very important moment, okay? So it's to understand this system is when the pawn is on g4, you have to look for the idea h5 first to create weaknesses and then get a nice outpost for the bishop. But in the game, John Fedorowicz, he avoided this sharp stuff. He played d4, and as you saw, after some exchanges, we got into a pretty dry position where there was just a very, very minimal chances to do anything. Yeah. So I end up winning, drawing the game. So not bad. I had, you know, 3.5 out of 4, and so solid draw with the black pieces against the Grandmaster. So not a bad result. Hope you guys enjoyed this game, and I'll be back with the round 5 coverage next of this tournament. Okay. See you very soon. Bye-bye.